So you can see what I have here is a map of the United States. Okay. Not sure if you can see it all in detail. Let me see. So this is like a peel and stick sort of map, and it comes with a marker so you can draw on the map. And so what I am going to do is I'm going to trace all of the states, but as I go along, I've looked up some facts about the 50 states, and it's going to be in alphabetical order. So as I trace the state, I will name some of the, well, just one fact that's listed here about each state. Okay, so I hope this information is accurate because I just looked it up on the internet. Okay, so the first state alphabetically is Alabama. Alabama is right here, the south. Okay, so the facts listed here, the category is home of. So Alabama is home of George Washington Carver. Who discovered more than 300 uses for peanuts. Okay, so our next state alphabetically, see if I can move the board a little here. That is Alaska. It's all the way its own little thing down here. Okay, there's a lot. I guess this is all part of Alaska. I'm not sure. So I'm not really tracing it very well because there's all little like inlets and different things I see here. So it's actually up north, off the coast of Canada. Okay, so the fact that they have given for Alaska is that it is home of the longest coastline in the United States, which is 6,640 miles, greater than that of all other states combined. All right, and next alphabetically is Arizona, which is right here. It's a very straight line there. Okay, we see Arizona is bordered with New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, California, New Mexico. Okay, so Arizona is home to the most telescopes in the world, and that's in Tucson. So next alphabetically is California. Okay, so we see that's a very large state, west coast. On the Pacific Ocean. Okay. It's bordered with Oregon, Nevada, Arizona, and Mexico. And the fact that is listed here for California is that it is the home of General Sherman, which is a 3,500-year-old tree, and a stand of bristlecone pines 4,000 years old are the world's oldest living things. Okay, so next alphabetically we have Colorado. That's right here. Very square or rectangle shaped state. Shaped state here. And so the fact that they've given for Colorado is that it is home of the world's largest silver nugget, which is 1,840 pounds, and it was found in 1894 near Aspen. Okay, the next state alphabetically is Connecticut. So we have to come back over to the East Coast. Up north here, Connecticut. It's a small little state right here. Okay, so Connecticut is home of the first American cookbook published in Hartford in 1796, and it was called The American Cookery, or I'm sorry, just American Cookery by Amelia Simmons. Okay, next alphabetically we have Delaware, which is also on the East Coast here. Delaware, let's see, I believe it's this little shape right here. Okay, so Delaware is home of the first log cabins in North America, built in 1683 by Swedish immigrants. Okay, so then we come down to Florida, southeastern coast. Okay, so Florida here. Again, I'm just doing a little rough outlining of the states here. Okay. So the fact we have for Florida is that it is home of U.S. spacecraft launchings from Cape Canaveral, formerly Cape Kennedy. Okay, and right above Florida, our next state is Georgia. So we already have the border to the left with Alabama. It meets also with North Carolina and South Carolina, Tennessee. Okay. So Georgia is home of the Girl Scouts, which was founded in Savannah by Juliet Gordon Low in 1912. Alright, so next is Hawaii. Okay, so Hawaii they have down here, it's just in, I guess, it's not exactly really in the right spot. It's just shown here in this little inset here, box down at the bottom. But it's out here in the Pacific Ocean. So Hawaii is made up of all of these little islands. So it's a little tough to outline. So the fact that we have for Hawaii is that it is the only royal palace in the United States. And I guess that's called Lolani. Okay. So next, alphabetically, we will come up north a little. Alright, where did Idaho go? It's over here somewhere. Oh, it's all the way over there. Okay, so our next state alphabetically is, over here we have Idaho. So Idaho, it's a pretty large state, I'd say. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the fact that we have here for Idaho is that it is home to the longest main street in America, which is 33 miles, and that is in Island Park. Okay, so then the next state that we come to will be Illinois. This one right here. Okay. Here. Okay. So Illinois is home of the tallest building in the United States, which is the Sears Tower, and that is in Chicago. And then the next state alphabetically is the next state over to the east, which is Indiana. Okay. So Indiana is home of the famous car race, the Indy 500. Alright, so next alphabetically is just over to the west, and that is Iowa. Okay. Connects with Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Missouri. Okay, so Iowa is home of the shortest and steepest railroad in the United States, and that is in, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Dubuque. So the railroad has a 60-degree incline, and it is 296 feet. Okay, that is pretty steep. Okay, so next on the list is Kansas. Right here, right next to Colorado, and just below Nebraska. There's Missouri to the east, and Oklahoma to the south. So Kansas is home of helium, discovered in 1905 at the University of Kansas. Okay. So next we come to Kentucky. It's over this way here. Alright, so Kentucky bordered with Indiana and Ohio, West Virginia, and Tennessee, here, and Missouri. So Kentucky, home of the largest underground cave in the world, 300 miles long. The Mammoth Flint Cave System. Alright, so next alphabetically we have to the south is Louisiana, and that is just south of Arkansas and west of Mississippi. A rough border there. Okay, and it comes down to the coast here, the Gulf of Mexico, and Texas to the west. So Louisiana, home to the most crayfish, 98% of the world's crayfish. Okay. So then, I need to move this just a bit. Come all the way up to the northeast to Maine. Okay. So that borders with Canada. A little bit of a rough coast there, and also borders with New Hampshire. Okay, so Maine, home of the most easterly point in the United States, which is west. I don't know how to pronounce this either. West, it's Quuddy, head. Cody, Cody, I don't know. Anyway, that is the most easterly point. Okay. So after Maine, we can come down here to Maryland. That is just coming down south on the east coast. A little hard to see the border there. So that is on the Atlantic Ocean and borders with Pennsylvania and Delaware and Virginia. Okay, so Maryland, home of the first umbrella factory in the United States in 1928 in Baltimore. Okay, so next on the list, up north just a little, is Massachusetts. Here, also on the east coast along the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so Massachusetts is home of the first World Series in 1903. The Boston Americans became the Red Sox in 1908 versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay. Okay, so next we need to head over west just a little, up north to Michigan. Okay, so Michigan is here. I'm not sure if this is all considered part of Michigan as well. I don't know. It looks like probably because it's the same color there. Okay, so Michigan is the Cereal Bowl of America. Battle Creek produces most cereal in the United States. Alright, so I realize now that I skipped right over Arkansas. So, let's see, it should have gone Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and then Arkansas. So this video will be just a little bit mixed up. Okay, so Arkansas is right here. It's a very wiggly border there along Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. Okay, so the fact that we have here, Arkansas is the home of the only active diamond mine in the United States. Okay, so let's see, where did we leave off? We did Michigan. Let's let's see, I think next on the list will be Minnesota. Okay, that's all the way up north, with Canada to the north and Iowa to the south and Wisconsin to the east and South Dakota and North Dakota to the west. So the fact that we have here for Minnesota, that it is home of the oldest rock in the world, 3.8 billion years old, found in Minnesota River Valley. Okay, so next, alphabetically, we have Mississippi. And Mississippi is right here, south. So let's see, to the north we have Tennessee. And to the east we have Alabama. And it's on the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. We have Louisiana to the southwest and Arkansas to the northwest. Okay, so Mississippi is home of Coca-Cola, first bottled in 1894 in Vicksburg. Oh, that's funny. There's a Philadelphia, Mississippi as well, as in Pennsylvania. It's weird. So Vicksburg is right here all the way to the west. So next, alphabetically, come up to the north a little. It looks like it's already outlined because all of the states around it have been outlined already. This is Missouri, right in the middle here. It's bordered with Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Iowa, a little bit of Nebraska, Kansas, bit of Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Okay, so Missouri is home of Mark Twain and some of his characters, such as Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Okay, so next we have Montana. So Montana, we need to come all the way up north here. Also looks like a very large state. Okay, so to the south here is Wyoming. And to the east we have South Dakota and North Dakota. To the north is Canada. And over to the west and the southwest, we have Idaho. Okay, so Montana is home of Grasshopper Glacier, named for the grasshoppers that can still be seen frozen in ice. Alright, so next on the list is Nebraska. And Nebraska is right here in the middle. Bordered with Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and South Dakota. So Nebraska is home of the only roller skating museum in the world in Lincoln, which is right here. Okay, so you have to come over west for the next state. Next on the list is Nevada, also partially outlined already. That was a little too sloppy. Okay. So we have this straight line here next to Utah, bordered with California, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, and Oregon. So Nevada is home of rare fish such as the Devil's Hole pup, found only in Devil's Hole, and other rare fish from prehistoric lakes. It's also the driest state. Okay. So now we have to come back over to the east. So here we're coming over to New Hampshire, which is right here next to Maine, and it meets the Atlantic Ocean to the east. Well, maybe it's considered the Gulf of Maine. I'm not really sure. That's what says this is the Gulf of Maine, but here is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so to the north we have Canada, and to the west is Vermont, and to the south is Massachusetts. Okay, so New Hampshire is home of artificial rain, first used near Concord in 1947 to fight a forest fire. All right. So next we come down south just a bit to New Jersey. Okay, so New Jersey meets the Atlantic Ocean to the east. And it's also bordered with Delaware and Pennsylvania to the west. New York to the north. Okay, so New Jersey is home of the world's first drive-in movie theater, built in 1933 near Camden. Okay. Now we're going to move back out west. And here we come to New Mexico, the way down south, southwest, and that is bordered by Texas and Mexico, and Arizona, and possibly Utah and Colorado. Okay, so our fact for New Mexico, it is home of Smokey Bear, a cub orphaned by fire in 1950, buried in Smokey Bear Historical State Park in 1976. Okay, now coming back over to the east. We have New York. Okay, so New York is bordered by Canada in the north. Okay, and then we come down to Pennsylvania to the south, and New Jersey to the south. And it also sits on the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and then we have Vermont to the east, and Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Okay, so New York is home of the first presidential inauguration, which was for George Washington, took the oath of office in New York City on April 30th, 1789. So now we're coming down south just a bit to North Carolina. So North Carolina is bordered with Virginia to the north. This one also has a bit of a rough border here on the ocean. Okay. And South Carolina is to the south. Then we have Tennessee to the west. Okay, so North Carolina is home of Virginia Dare, who is the first English child born in America on Roanoke Island in 1587. Okay. So next we come back over to the, I guess it's Midwest, the north up here. This is North Dakota. So North Dakota borders Canada and South Dakota to the south. And then we have Minnesota to the east and Montana to the west. Okay, so North Dakota, home of the Geographic Center of North America in Pierce County near Volta. All right, that's interesting. Okay, back over to the east a little. We have Ohio. Okay, so Ohio, we have Lake Erie to the north and Pennsylvania to the east. And then we have West Virginia to the south east, and Kentucky in the south, Indiana over to the west, and Michigan up north. So Ohio is home of the first electric traffic lights, invented and installed in Cleveland in 1914. Okay, so then we need to come down south just a bit to Oklahoma. Okay, so Oklahoma borders Texas to the south. Okay. And Arkansas to the east, Missouri to the northeast, Kansas to the north, a little bit of Colorado here, and New Mexico. So Oklahoma is home of the first parking meter, installed in Oklahoma City in 1935. Okay, now we're going to have to come all the way over to the west coast to Oregon. Okay, so it's bordered with Idaho and Washington and Nevada and California and its coast is on the Pacific Ocean. Okay, so Oregon is home of the world's smallest park, totaling 452 inches, created in Portland on St. Patrick's Day for leprechauns and snail races. Okay. So now we come back over to the east, and next on the list is Pennsylvania. Okay, so Pennsylvania is bordered by New Jersey and Delaware and Maryland, as well as a bit of West Virginia and Ohio. Also meets Lake Erie and New York. Okay, so Pennsylvania is home of the first magazine in America, called the American Magazine, published in Philadelphia for 3 months in 1741. Okay. Okay, so next we have Rhode Island, just all the way to the east. So let's move this over a bit. I believe that's this tiny little state right here. It's on the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so Rhode Island is home of Rhode Island red chickens, first bred in 1854, and this was the start of poultry as a major American industry. Alright, so after Rhode Island, we come down south to South Carolina. Alright, and that is on the Atlantic Ocean. It also borders with Georgia and North Carolina. Okay, so South Carolina is home of the first tea farm in the United States, created in 1890 near Somerville. Okay, then we have to come back over. Here. Next on the list is South Dakota. Okay, so we have North Dakota to the north, and on the east side here is Minnesota, and a little bit of Iowa, Nebraska to the south, and to the west we have Wyoming, and a bit of Montana. Okay. So our fact for South Dakota is it's home of the world's largest natural indoor warm water pool. It's at Evans's Plunge, or Evans Plunge in Hot Springs. Okay, that's interesting too. I'll take a look at that. Okay, so next we have, let's see, coming down southeast just a bit is Tennessee. We have bordered with Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, or no, looks like Virginia, North Carolina. Did I say these already? Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri. Okay, so Tennessee is home of Graceland, which is the estate and grave site of Elvis Presley. Okay. Now we come all the way down south here, down to Texas. Okay, so Texas is on the Gulf of Mexico here, and bordered to the south by parts of Mexico. It's a very large state. So Texas is home of NASA in Houston, headquarters for all piloted U.S. space projects. Okay, so next we need to move over west a little. And we come over here to Utah, bordered with Wyoming and Colorado and Arizona and is home of Rainbow Bridge, which is the largest natural stone bridge in the world, 290 feet high and 275 feet across. Okay. So now we're coming back over to the northeast. That is to Vermont, the way up here, bordered by Canada, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and New York. So Vermont is home of the largest production of maple syrup in the United States. And then we need to come down south a little to Virginia. Okay, so Virginia here is bordered with West Virginia and Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, and the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. So Virginia is home of the only full-length statue of George Washington, placed in Capitol in 1796. Okay. So then we come all the way back to the west. All the way up here to Washington. Okay. All the way to the northwest. Okay. Washington is home of Lunar Rover, which is the vehicle used by astronauts on the moon. Boeing in Seattle makes aircraft and spacecraft. Okay. Okay, back over to the east. This one is already fully outlined because of the states that it borders. This is West Virginia. Okay. Okay, so West Virginia is home of marbles. Most of the country's glass marbles made around Parkersburg. Okay, so just 2 more states left. So we come up north here to Wisconsin. Okay. It's bordered, comes up to the Lake of Michigan, as well as Michigan itself. Okay. Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota. Okay, so Wisconsin is home of the typewriter, which was invented in Milwaukee in 1867. Okay, so our last state alphabetically is Wyoming, right here. It's also already fully outlined. Okay. So Wyoming is home of the Register of the Desert, a huge granite boulder covering 27 acres with 5,000 early pioneer names carved on it. Alright, so I think that covers everything. So I just wanted to do some simple facts about all of the states. So I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that maybe, even though the facts I gave were a little silly, but I hope maybe you learned something. And I hope that you enjoyed. So thank you so much for watching.